The 18th century has become known as the Age of Enlightenment. It was an age of philosophy, reason, revolution, and inalienable human rights. But it was also an age of warfare, colonialism, and slavery that would culminate in the rise of Napoleon. In this tumultuous time, an extraordinary musician made his career in Paris. He was a master swordsman, a soldier, Freemason, composer, and a superb violinist. And he came from the unlikeliest of backgrounds. Today, we explore the Second Symphony of Joseph Boulogne, the Chevalier de Saint-Georges. Joseph Boulogne's origins are poorly documented. He was born on the island of Guadeloupe, a French colony in the Caribbean, the son of Georges Boulogne, a French nobleman and plantation owner, and Nanon, a slave of Senegalese descent. The year was between 1740 and 1745. The elder Boulogne brought the boy and his mother to Paris at the age of around 10. A doting and loving father, he was determined that Joseph should be fully accepted in the French capital. He received an excellent education and proved to be a quick study in fencing, violin, and numerous other pursuits. It was not long before he distinguished himself and was regarded as one of the best swordsmen in Europe. Boulogne's fencing master, Lavoisier, described him thusly: "He was vital, supple, wiry, swift. He astonished with his agility. His technique was devoid of feints or tricks. One had to be advanced enough to draw with him to really appreciate the extent of his superior powers." The same qualities that made Boulogne a master swordsman served him well as a violinist. He was also known as one of the best violinists in Paris, if not Europe. In 1769, he joined the Concert des Amateurs, an orchestra that was one of the finest in Europe. 4 years later, he became its leader and conductor. For a period of about 10 years, Boulogne composed a series of successful and popular compositions, generally featuring the violin. Most notably, he helped to contribute to a genre that was quite popular at the time, the Symphonia concertante. This is a type of concerto, or a piece with a solo instrument accompanied by the orchestra, that instead of having a single soloist, has two or more who engage in a lively interplay with each other. Think of it as sort of a rap battle of the 18th century. In 1778, young Mozart visited Paris and attended the Concert des Amateurs. For several months, he was living under the same roof as Boulogne, the house of a fellow Freemason named Friedrich Melchior Grimm. How well the two composers got to know each other is unknown, but Mozart would later compose a famous Symphonia concertante which emulated certain elements of Boulogne's style. Boulogne's impact as an artistic leader can be felt in the works his orchestra performed. The famous Paris symphonies of Joseph Haydn, for example, were commissioned and premiered by Boulogne's orchestra in 1786. Boulogne's creative output in the 1780s took a decisive shift away from works for orchestra or strings and towards opera. His ambitions in this field were only modestly successful. Despite his stature and being on good terms with the Queen, Marie Antoinette, Boulogne's racial heritage set an artificial ceiling for his career prospects. In 1779, he received a stinging rebuke in his efforts to be named director of the Opéra de Paris. His candidacy was dropped after a petition by the leading singers. Mademoiselle Guimard, Amour, Rosalie, and others addressed a petition to the Queen. Their honor and the delicate nature of their conscience could never allow them to submit to the orders of a mulatto. Boulogne could never completely overcome the prejudices of his time. For similar reasons, he never married. In Paris of the Enlightenment, a black man could be a lover, but never a husband. Despite the uneven success of Boulogne as an opera composer, his charm and talent made him a well-liked member of high society. In 1779, he was made director of the private opera company of Charlotte Jean Béraud, the Marquise de Montesson, and continued writing operas, including L'Amant Anonyme, the anonymous lover, the only one which has been preserved in its entirety to this day. More on that later. Boulogne's life was extraordinary in many ways. In 1779, he survived an assassination attempt perpetrated for reasons that are lost to history. He continued his fencing, his amorous affairs, and his music. Then, in 1789, the world changed. The French Revolution ushered in a new era, and the son of a slave found himself a colonel in the Revolutionary Army, in command of a regiment of non-white soldiers, including Thomas Alexandre Dumas, the father of the famous author of the Three Musketeers. Boulogne served with distinction for several years until he was abruptly imprisoned during the Great Terror. Charges were dropped in 1794, and he tried to be reinstated with his regiment. Instead, from 1795 to 1797, he was sent back to the Caribbean as part of the army sent to end the long Haitian Revolution. In this complicated, multifaceted war, which eventually saw the victory of the Haitians, Boulogne fought for the French Republic on the side of revolutionary leader Toussaint Louverture against an incursion by the British, who were trying to restore slavery to the island. In an age of revolutions, the bloody Haitian Revolution, the only known successful slave revolt in history, is often overlooked, but it was an event which shook the world and shaped the future of North America. If you want to learn more, check out this video. In 1797, Boulogne returned to Paris and resumed his musical career, which he continued until his death in 1799. His final position was director of a new orchestra called the Cercle de l'Harmonie, a position which required membership in the Order of Freemasonry. Relatively few of Boulogne's compositions have been preserved to this day. One of the most frequently performed is a charming Symphonia in D major. Although it bears the title of symphony, this music was originally conceived as the overture for his opera L'amant anonyme. I told you we'd get back to that one. The genre we know as a symphony evolved from the three-part Italian opera overture called a sinfonia, which was the standard practice for opera in the first half of the 18th century. This symphony follows the same general pattern, with three movements: fast, slow, fast. The choice of key, D major, has an association with glory or triumph in this period, and you can hear this in the opening movement, which has this rising, powerful theme. The second movement shifts to D minor, and it uses only the strings in the orchestra. Here is a sound that's a little bit more mournful, a little bit more suffering and internal. The final movement is back to a triple meter, this case 6/8, and has horns and oboes rejoining the strings. The horn very often in this period was associated with the hunt. It was originally an instrument used in the hunt. And so we have this sense of outdoorsman and energy and excitement. And this maybe harkens also to Boulogne's very successful career as a sportsman, a fencer, a swimmer, and an athlete. I'd like to comment a little bit on the plot of the opera that this music comes from. The story of the opera L'amant anonyme is of Leontine, a noble woman who, fresh out of a cold marriage, is being suited by an anonymous admirer who turns out to be her close friend Valcourt. Valcourt is afraid that she will consider him unworthy of her status, and so pretends to have hardened his heart against love. It's very tempting to read into this scenario Boulogne's own life, in which the law and custom forbade him from marrying. The only evidence of Boulogne's love life are hints and supposition. He was an anonymous lover indeed. He was rumored to have had a long affair with Marie-Joséphine de Montalembert, including fathering a child. But despite her divorce from her husband, marriage with Boulogne was not a possibility. For centuries, the fascinating character of Joseph Boulogne has been ignored by history. Recently, his story and his music have sparked a renewed interest, including albums, books, and Hollywood films. The Chevalier de Saint-Georges was a trailblazer, the first known classical composer of African origin. In the 21st century, he is an anonymous composer, no more. So what do you think of this video? Had you ever heard of Joseph Boulogne before? Have you seen the Hollywood film Chevalier, which recently came out about his life? Would you like to see more of his music on concert programs in the 21st century? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to do all the YouTube things. I'm Daniel Black. Thanks for watching.